Absolutely confirmed. Thomas Frank is done at Tottenham. The shocking pre-match incident was the final straw after Bournemouth chaos. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. Thomas Frank's time at Tottenham is effectively over. The only unanswered question now is when the club will make it official. The defeat away at Bournemouth merely confirmed what most Spurs supporters already feared. Tottenham were second best, disorganised, fragile and devoid of authority. Bournemouth looked like the better coach side, the hungrier side, the team with a plan. On its own, that result would have been enough to push an already furious fan base closer to breaking point. But what happened before kick-off detonated the situation completely. Images emerged online of Thomas Frank before the match, drinking coffee from a cup emblazoned with an Arsenal logo. Yes, Arsenal. The photo spread like wildfire across social media within minutes, igniting outrage, disbelief, and outright fury among Spurs fans. For many, it was the final insult. Not a joke, not a prank, not mischief. A catastrophic lapse in judgment from a man already hanging by a thread. Sources suggest that even board members who had previously argued for patience were left stunned by the incident. Internally, there is now a growing consensus that Frank cannot continue. The symbolism was toxic. At a club where identity and respect matter deeply, this was seen as an unforgivable misstep, especially with results on the pitch collapsing. Frank's post-match response only poured petrol on the fire. Instead of acknowledging the damage caused, he dismissed the situation, claiming he had not noticed the Arsenal branding and branding the entire controversy as sad and stupid. He even suggested journalists were wrong to focus on it. That tone has only reinforced the feeling that Frank is completely out of touch with the reality of his position and the mood surrounding the club. On the pitch, the situation is just as bleak. Tottenham sit 14th in the Premier League after managing just one win in 6 matches. Performances lack intensity, structure and urgency. The football is lifeless, confidence is shattered, authority is gone. After the final whistle at the Vitality Stadium, chaos spilled into the stands as Mickey van de Ven was seen arguing with Tottenham supporters, a clear sign that the relationship between fans, players and manager has fractured beyond repair. The atmosphere around the club is now described as poisonous. Trust is gone. Patience is exhausted. The squad looks rudderless. The supporters feel humiliated. Tottenham, once proud and defiant, now look completely adrift. Frank's dismissal is widely viewed as inevitable. There is a very real possibility he will not even make it to Saturday's FA Cup tie against Aston Villa. And if he does, few believe Tottenham will survive that match. Another defeat would only deepen the crisis and further damage a situation that is already beyond salvage. This is no longer about tactics or form. It is about leadership, awareness and respect. Right now, Tottenham have none of it. The bond between manager, players and fans has snapped. Tottenham have quietly positioned themselves in a potentially explosive goalkeeper situation involving one of Real Madrid's most highly rated stars. Sources indicate that Spurs are closely monitoring Andriy Lunin's future, with the Ukrainian international increasingly open to the idea of a Premier League move as frustration grows in Madrid. Lunin remains hugely respected inside the Bernabéu. His performances whenever called upon have earned strong internal backing, and there is no doubt about his quality or pedigree at the very top level. However, the reality of his situation is brutal. Thibaut Courtois is still firmly entrenched as Real Madrid's undisputed #1, and despite being 33, the Belgian was handed a fresh 2-year contract last summer, underlining the club's commitment to him as their long-term first choice. That decision has effectively shut the door on Lunin's hopes of regular football in Spain's capital. Minutes are scarce, opportunities are limited, and the pathway to becoming Madrid's starter looks increasingly blocked. To complicate matters further, Real Madrid are also highly excited about young goalkeeper Javi Navarro, who is progressing rapidly through the ranks and is viewed internally as part of the club's future planning. With that landscape in mind, Lunin's representatives have begun exploring alternatives. Those close to the player believe he is entering a critical phase of his career where sitting on the bench is no longer acceptable. At 26, he wants responsibility, continuity and the chance to be a guaranteed starter at elite level. England, and specifically the Premier League, is seen as an ideal destination. Tottenham have been made fully aware of the situation. The North London club are assessing their long-term goalkeeping options and view Lunin as a profile that fits perfectly, proven at the highest level, entering his prime, and hungry to establish himself as a clear number one. Spurs believe the Premier League spotlight and the promise of regular football could be decisive factors in convincing the Ukrainian to make the switch. That said, Tottenham are far from alone. Several Premier League sides are circling, while interest from across Europe is also beginning to intensify as clubs sense an opportunity. Real Madrid, for their part, are not actively pushing Lunin out the door, but they are realistic. If the right proposal arrives and the player pushes for a move, a transfer in the near future cannot be ruled out. What is clear is that momentum is building. Lunin wants clarity, Tottenham are watching closely, and the Premier League is calling. This is a situation that could accelerate quickly once formal talks begin. Spurs have quietly reignited their long-standing interest in Conor Gallagher, and this time the situation feels far more serious and far more urgent. The England international's future at Atletico Madrid is hanging in the balance, and Spurs are closely monitoring every development as the midfielder's minutes in Spain continue to dry up. Gallagher's move to La Liga was meant to be a bold career step, but the reality has been frustrating. Opportunities have been limited, his role has been inconsistent, and sources close to the player believe he is increasingly open to a swift return to the Premier League. Tottenham are fully aware of that frustration and have already established contact to understand the conditions of a possible deal, according to reports. While early noise suggested a temporary solution could be explored, the picture coming out of Madrid is far clearer now. Atletico are willing to sanction a permanent sale if a convincing offer lands on the table. They are not desperate sellers, but they are pragmatic, and Gallagher is no longer viewed as untouchable. From Tottenham's perspective, this is about profile as much as talent. Gallagher is Premier League proven, relentless in his pressing, fearless in the tackle, and relentless with his running. Spurs have lacked drive, aggression and energy in central areas for long stretches this season, and Gallagher ticks every box Tottenham demands from a midfielder in his high-octane system. There is also a bigger picture at play. Gallagher is desperate to reassert himself on the international stage ahead of the next World Cup cycle. Regular football in England, in a system that plays to his strengths, would dramatically boost his chances. Spurs can offer exactly that: minutes, responsibility, and a platform. Manchester United are also hovering, fully aware of Gallagher's availability and ready to act if the door opens wider. United's interest adds real pressure, and Tottenham no delay could be costly. What makes this situation combustible is timing. Spurs need midfield reinforcement now, not later. Gallagher wants clarity. Atletico want the right price. Talks are ongoing, lines of communication are open, and the feeling around the deal is that it could move quickly if Tottenham decide to formalise their interest. That wraps up today's update. If you like this video and want to keep up with all the latest Tottenham news, be sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss any updates. Remember to leave a like and share this video with fellow Spurs supporters. Together we can continue growing the Tottenham News Today community. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, come on you Spurs!